Good evening, everybody. Dr. Patmos here. Today it is April 29th, and I want to talk a little bit about the amazing, incredible story of James Comey being indicted again. For those who haven't paid attention, James Comey, who was the director of the FBI during Trump's first term and who led an investigation of his obvious collusion with Russia, uh, we now know in retrospect there was no formal written agreement. There was no, actual conspiracy, but the collusion was obvious. What Russia was doing was spreading disinformation on social media that benefited Trump, and he welcomed that and said so. And he said, if Putin, if you're listening, find me Hillary's emails if you all remember that. That was it right there. Well, Comey conducted an investigation and or was part of an investigation, and the late Robert Mueller conducted an investigation. They didn't find direct evidence of collusion, but it was obvious all along that Trump benefited from Russian disinformation. The proof of that was the Tenet Media story. I mean, it was confirmed that Tenet Media, they were indicted. They got $10 million from Russia, directly from Russia to Tenet Media, which was a media company in Tennessee, I believe, and Russia had actually implanted its own people as the editor of Tenet Media, and the $10 million was used to pay podcasters on YouTube, Benny Johnson and Tim Pool and another guy, I forget his name. These right wing podcasters and social media influencers were basically spreading disinformation pushed in there by Putin and by Russia into Tenet Media. So the collusion story is obvious. The collusion was Russia benefited Trump by spreading disinformation through social media and polluting the minds of American voters. Anyhow, so Comey was involved in that investigation, and Trump never forgot it. He vowed to get revenge. I am your retribution. He vowed to get revenge and to get retribution over this. So he, a couple of months ago, indicted Comey, or had Comey indicted by his then Attorney General Pam Bondi. Well, that indictment was so ridiculous and poorly written that it got thrown out as soon as it was filed, and it went nowhere. So that may be the reason why he fired Bondi, because he wanted somebody else to make sure they go after his enemies. And so he put his own personal attorney, Todd Blanche, in as acting attorney general. Now, if there isn't a conflict of interest there, I don't know where is. You get your own personal lawyer acting as the attorney general. So he directed Blanche to go after Comey again. So what did they do? They just arrested Comey and indicted him for allegedly calling for the assassination of the president and participating in an interstate conspiracy to have the president assassinated. And how did he do this? He took seashells when he was on vacation on the beach, and he took seashells and he arranged the seashells on the beach on the sand in a pattern that said 8647, and he put it on Facebook. That's his crime. 8647. In Trump's mind, and in this absurd indictment, 86 means to assassinate the president. And to put it on Facebook means you're calling for people to assassinate the president. And this is why Comey was arrested and indicted, and now has to go before. This case is going to be thrown out right away. It's so absolutely absurd, but it's just the point of it. Now, it kind of caused in my mind to raise the question of, what does 86 mean? What does it mean to 86 someone? Well, if it's in the text below, it came from the restaurant and bar industry. To 86, originally 86 meant you're out of something, like you're out of avocados. Hey, we're 86 on avocados, means you're out of avocados. And then it became, a way, a code to sort of get people out of a bar when they're drunk. 86, that guy, he's drunk, or 86, that customer, he's being unruly. And that's what it means to 86. It means to basically get rid of him, get him out. doesn't mean to kill the president. That is extremely. First, there's no evidence that it ever meant that. There's no evidence that Comey meant that. That's so ridiculous. It's beyond the pale. And to use the Department of Justice and the Attorney General to file an indictment like this is obvious malicious uh, persecution. The proof of that is Trump's own post, gleefully boasting and gloating about the power he has to arrest people. See what I can do? This is how much power I have. I can get anybody arrested. See, Jimmy Kimmel, don't you make jokes about me because I'll get you arrested. So this is if there was ever a malicious, frivolous prosecution, this is it. So I can't imagine any jury, any judge taking this thing seriously. This is going to be thrown out as fast as it came in. But it's just a sham that, and a terrible thing that Comey has to go through this, and that the United States has to go through this. Have to watch a president that this far out of control. James Comey is absolutely within his right to say 86-47. By that, it's obvious what he means. We need to get this man out of office, that the midterm elections are coming. Remember that. Vote in November. Vote anybody but Trump. You could vote for a doorknob. That would be a better choice than Trump or his party or his team. We've got to get the Republicans out of power. We've got to neuter Trump's power by getting the House and the Senate to go over to the other side, so we can at least put some kind of brakes on this madman. So anyhow, and the other thing, of course, is just freedom of speech. This is political speech. It is expressing uh, criticism for the President of the United States, which is, the First Amendment of the Constitution says we have the right to do that, to express criticism for the President of the United States. So if we're exercising our First Amendment rights, we're exercising our First Amendment rights. That's what Comey was doing, arranging seashells. Seashells on. He sells seashells by the seashore. Come on, man. This is embarrassing. This is absolutely embarrassing that this is what the level that the United States has descended to. That we've got an insane president indicting people for arranging seashells on the beach and claiming that that was an interstate conspiracy to have him assassinated. Give me a break. Oh, November, you can't come soon enough. 6 months more of this. Please, this time, vote. A third of you stayed home in November of 2024, and this is what it got us. Remember, Trump won with slightly more than a third of the vote. A third of the vote voted for Harris, and a third of the vote didn't vote. Trump got in with 1/3 of the electorate. We cannot make that mistake again. It is not just your right to vote, it is your duty to vote. If you didn't vote last time and you're unhappy with how things are going, don't make the same mistake again. Get out and vote this time. We have an opportunity in November to turn it over and get this fascist out of power. At least reduce his power for the next 2 years, rendering him a lame duck. And that's what I hope will happen. So, James Comey, I'm sorry you're going through this. You don't deserve it, but you've got to be. This is a joke. You're not going to get. You're not going to prison for 20 years for putting seashells in the sand. Come on, man.